So if you're an anxious person, I want to tell you a hidden reason that you are anxious that you don't even know is going on. I know it's going on because I see it every day. Every day, I have calls with people where I help them with their anxiety. And the first question I often ask them is, tell me about your anxiety. And they'll start to talk and they'll say, well, Daniel, I'm not sure if I have anxiety or I'm just an anxious person. I mean, maybe this is just stress. Also, maybe it's what's going on in the world. Also, I grew up in an anxious family, so I'm just naturally anxious. And also, I heard that, some anxiety is kind of good. It's like our body's natural system. And is it that I'm an anxious person or I'm just feeling anxious feelings? And as they're talking, I don't say this. But what I want to say to them or feel like saying is like, oh my God, I am so sorry. You are heavily confused. You have no idea what's going on. And I don't say that with judgment. I was one of those heavily confused people that had no idea what's going on. And it's not their fault. These are smart, capable people who have done their research, and that research is what got them confused, because that research, part of it was listening to experts who weren't so experty, if you know what I'm talking about. There's all these experts that say anxiety is this, anxiety is that, anxiety is this, anxiety is that. And then they give you a bunch of theories that are sort of kind of true, but not enough to really fix anything, which just makes you all the more confused. And so by going to the experts, because they don't know what they're talking about, have left smart, capable people heavily confused. But when you're confused, how do you solve something? Not to mention the confusion just makes you more anxious. And that's not even the problem. The problem is we don't see this confusion as a problem. We just think it's part of this industry. Well, you don't hear this in other places. You'll never hear a person say, how do I know if I'm actually bleeding? Am I bleeding or is there just blood coming out of me? And I grew up in a family where people used to bleed, so maybe I just inherited bleeding. And how do I know if that's even blood or maybe just dried salsa from Chipotle? Like, nobody talks like that. You know when you're bleeding and people know how to stop bleeding. Or nobody says, so how do I know if I'm choking? Is it that I'm choking, or is it there's something that's so I can't breathe? And maybe this is just normal. I had a cousin who used to choke all the time. And so also I grew up in a family where somebody choked. So maybe choking is like inherited. And is it choking, or is it like a lack of gratitude and abundance for the air that's out there? And maybe a little bit of choking is a good thing. Like, no, nobody talks like that, because we know simply what choking is, and we know simply how to stop people choking. So the fact that you are so heavily confused is because the experts don't know what's going on, don't have a simple explanation, and are leaving you heavily confused. The reason that we're able to solve anxiety with a 90% success rate, and the reason that we only charge people at the end when we get results, is not because we're smarter or better. It's because we took the time to figure out a simple explanation of what anxiety actually is, and a simple, keyword simple, explanation and steps in how to solve anxiety permanently. The power is in the simplicity, because we actually know what's going on. When you know what's going on, you can make something simple. So if you have anxiety and you're not sure what's going on and you are confused, which keeps you from a solution and even makes you more anxious, and you'd like to go from confusion to clarity and complicated to simple. If that sounds good to you, then come find us, because that is what we do. We are in the simple solution business, baby. KISS. Keep it simple, sexy.